Hello, students. I welcome you again on behalf of Sri Shivsha College of Commerce Management and Computer Education, and it is managed by Jain Citizens Education Society. So, today we are going to discuss the last topic of this chapter number 4, that is advantages of economies of scale. So, as we had studied, in the last session, there are two types of advantages, that is internal economies and external economies. Internal economies means advantages of expansion of a firm, that it is only related to our particular firm, and when it comes to external economies, it means that advantages of expansion of industries. We are combining all the firms, and that is we are talking about all over the industry. So internal means our particular firm, one particular firm, and external economies means all the firms that can be termed as industries. So in internal economies, there were many types of different sub points of advantages. So that were mechanical or technical advantages, then managerial advantages, then advantages regarding purchase and sale, then financial and monetary advantages, and last but not the least, that is advantage of capacity of taking risk. So let us discuss the first point, that is mechanical or technical advantage. When a firm grows in scale, it gets five types of technical advantages. So in mechanical or technical advantages, there are sub points, five sub points of technical advantages. Now, number one, advantage of division of labor. When the scale of firm grows, various machines required for different processes of production can be set up. So, when a firm is growing, there are lot many machines required for different processes of production, and they are set it up. Thus, the opportunities for subtle division of labor takes place. So, there are lot many opportunities arising because there are many machineries. So, we need different kind of labors for the running of that machinery. So, we can take the advantage of division of labor. As a result, the benefits of division labor, such as increased efficiency, skill, distribution according to capacity, then increase in production, encouragement to research, etc., can be achieved. So, division of labor takes place. Then there are advantages of increased efficiency. Then there is increment in the skills, and there is distribution according to their own capacities, and increase in production, encouragement to research, etc., can be achieved. So, that was the first point, advantages of division of labor. Then, another point is advantages of uh, indivisibility. When a firm grows in scale, it can purchase machines which small units cannot purchase. Definitely true. When firm is growing at a larger scale, it has more capacity, it is having more finance, so it can purchase more machineries which a small unit cannot purchase. To produce certain goods, huge machines are required. For an example, production of iron and steel. Whenever we are producing iron and steel or any other big products, then we need giant machines, we need huge machineries. For the production of steel and iron, huge machines, furnaces, cranes, etc. are required. To make production of such things on a small scale, big machines cannot be divided into small ones. So, there is no work of small units over here. We need huge machines, furnaces, cranes, etc. for the development or for the production of iron and steel. Um, for the production of iron and steel. So big machines cannot be divided into smaller ones. So your firm can larger units can get the advantage of that particular thing. Small machines are not even available for such a purpose, but naturally small machines cannot produce iron and steel. If the small firms purchases such machines, the capacity of the machines will remain unutilized or underutilized. Whenever smaller units are buying this kinds of machineries and they are utilizing them, then we can know that they cannot perfectly utilize this thing, because there is not that much production in the smaller units compared to larger units. Then for small units, such machines are uneconomical, means we cannot get that much advantage over smaller units. For technical reasons, the advantages of indivisibility of machines can be availed only by big firms. Therefore, they can make production at a lower cost. So, we can get advantage of the lower cost. Third point is coordination of various process of production. When a firm becomes larger, all the necessary processes connected with one another for the production of a particular product can be undertaken at a single place. For example, big textile mill may have coordination of various processes like spinning, weaving, dyeing, etc. So, when we are having larger unit, then we can arrange that machineries according to its processes easily. So that first stage is completed, it moves on towards the second phase, then it moves on towards the third phase. So there is continuity in the process of the production. Transport expenses, time and factor can be saved. As a result, production can be made at a cheaper rate. So we can, whenever there is a larger production, we can get this advantage that there is a larger space, processes are moving in accordance to each other, and we can take the advantage of time, transport expenses and factors can be saved. As a result, production can be made at a cheaper rates. Fourth one is advantage of expansion. When a firm becomes larger, it attains the advantage of expansion. Thus, production can be made at cheaper rates. For example, double-decker bus does not require double expenditure, but it can earn double income. Obviously, double-decker bus is not required, does not require a double expenditure, means expenses won't turn into double, but the income is turning double. Advantage of the use of by-products. Sometimes with the production of a certain product, other byproducts are automatically produced. If the firm is big, it can use byproducts and undertake production of other goods made by byproducts. Sometimes it is there in the production that byproducts are automatically produced. We are not in an intention to produce, but there are certain factors of production that gives a byproduction to the original production. For example, oil millers can use the waste oil for soap manufacturing. So, oil millers can use the waste oil for soap manufacturing. They can also use it for cattle feed or poultry feed. Thus, big farms can use byproducts and produce and reduce the cost of production and earn from products made from byproducts. So, these were the advantages of mechanical or technical advantage. Now, number 2 is managerial advantages. As the firm becomes large, personnel with specialized knowledge can be appointed for each process of production. So, when the managerial advantages, As the firm becomes large, personnel with specialized knowledge can be appointed for each process of production. For example, in big firms, there are expert personnel for accounting, supervision, and works management, quality control, marketing, etc. They can be appointed and they can be given full time work, and the firm can take advantage, and they can be given full time work and the firm can take advantage of their efficiency. If the firm is small, all jobs have to be done by the entrepreneur and production may be adversely affected, but big firms can avail of managerial experts. So we can separately appoint the managerial experts which can give us the specialized knowledge regarding particular field, and by taking their advantage we can uh, achieve higher targets, perfection in work. So small firms cannot do all these things, only big firms can perform this task. Then the third is advantages in purchase and sale. When a firm becomes large, it can purchase raw material on a large scale. Due to purchase in bulk, it can get raw material at cheaper rates. Besides, as there are experts for purchase, the quality of raw material can be maintained. So, this concept is very well known to us that whenever we are purchasing on a whole scale or on a larger scale or a bulk scale, then we can get a wholesale rate over it. So there is we can buy raw material at a cheaper rates. For marketing, big firms can hire sell personnel as there is a large quantity of products for selling. The big firm can use advertisements, canvassing, exhibitions, etc. for sales promotion. Therefore, the demand increases. As a result, production has to be increased. Average cost of production is low. Thus, as the scale of a firm expands, it gets the advantage regarding purchase and sales. So, this is the advantage when we are producing on a larger scale. Fourth is Fourth is financial advantage. As the firm becomes large, its capacity increases. It can set credits or advantageous facilities easily from the financial market for production. People do not hesitate in investing their savings with big firms or companies because they have faith in their financial stability. So, the main question, that is of finance, it becomes quite easy because whenever there is a larger firm, people's trust over them is larger. People easily invest in them because it is a larger unit. So, in arranging finance, it is quite easy. People can easily manage the finances. As a result, they can get finances at lower rates relatively. Besides, big firms can issue shares to raise capital. Another plus point is raising shares to raise their capital. Thus, big firms can get financial advantages. So, this is the point of financial advantages. Now, last point, that is advantage of the capacity of taking risk. As the firms becomes large, they can avoid the risk involved in production. As big firms produce many products, the risk is distributed. If one of the products makes losses, other may make profit. Moreover, big firms can arrange to sell their products in different markets instead of selling in one market only. Thus, they do not have to depend on a single market. As a result, the risk in sales decreases because we are involving more than one market. If one market is filled, other markets may be successful, or else all markets can be successful. So, there is a less risk and more returns. Besides, big firms purchase raw material from different places instead of one place. Thus, the risk of availability of raw materials is also reduced. The big firms can reduce the risk involved in the process of production, which is not possible for small firms. The small firms cannot get this advantage, whereas the big firms can achieve this type of advantages. So, these were the advantages of internal economies. Now, let us take a look over the external economies advantages. So, advantages of development of industries, that is external economies. Number one, advantage of centralization of public facilities. Where firms developed or expand, industries developed, and in this way, industries are localized. Due to localization of industries, trained and skilled workers and technicians come and reside in the area. The industries or firms have no problem in availing of such a skilled labor. So, we can easily achieve public facilities, or we can find easily skilled labors. And whenever we are achieving skilled labors, we are having the higher returns. Due to development of industries, transport, communication facilities, financial institutions like banks, electricity, water, etc., and other public facilities also developed. These facilities can be used by all firms and not an individual firm. These facilities can be used by all firms and not an individual firm. Thus, due to development of industries, centralization of public facilities takes place and their benefits can be availed by all the firms. So, that is centralization of public facilities. Now, number two is advantage of information and research. With the development of providing information regarding industries are published, these magazines can discuss the problem related to industries such as availability of raw materials, situation regarding demand, changes in methods of production, government policy, etc. If the firms are small in number and if industries have not developed, such magazines cannot be published. Moreover, in modern times, research has become inevitable, that is very important. Quality of products can be improved with the help of research only. Production cost can also be reduced for an individual firm. It is not possible as it is quite costly. Research centers can be set up in industries with the help and cooperation of firms. In Jamnagar, a research institution has been set up with the cooperation of oil mills in order to make research in the field. So, this is the advantage of information and research. Number third, advantage of ancillary industries. The place where main industries have been set up, ancillary industries also develop there. Therefore, major firms of industries are benefited. In Ahmedabad, due to development of textile industries, ancillary industries like chemicals, packing materials, spare parts, repairing services have come up. Thus, the main industries can avail of required goods and services easily and at lower cost. All other firms are also benefited due to development of ancillary industries, but the advantages of scale cannot be availed unlimited time. Therefore, the condition of increasing returns can be seen in firms per limited period only. Now let us discuss disadvantages of development of the firms, that is internal economies. First one is technical disadvantage. As the firm grows larger in size, there are problems regarding management of different processes of production. This was also the advantage given. Now here it is discussed the disadvantage, that There are problems regarding management of different processes of production. To continue production, it becomes necessary to coordinate these activities. There may be certain divisions of production that are more efficient and work quite rapidly. There may be other departments that work slowly and less efficiently. In such cases, it is difficult to maintain coordination. For an example, in a certain textile mills, if there is proper coordination among different sections like spinning, weaving, dyeing, the firm can produce goods efficiently and avail of advantages of its skill. But in very big firms, it is difficult to maintain proper coordination among different sections and therefore technical disadvantages takes place in the firm. Second is disadvantages regarding management. As the scale of the firm becomes very large, the problem regarding management also arises. The number of workers and laborers increase and the problems of supervision, control, direction, discipline also arise. The delay in data collections regarding production and in decision making also starts. Thus, efficiency of management decreases and it proves harmful for the firm. Number third, disadvantages of purchase and sell. Big firms purchase raw material in large bulks. In these circumstances, if the prices of raw material decrease, the firm has to incur losses. There is also the problem of storing this raw material. There are seasonal changes in demand of certain products, for example, ice, cold drinks, fans, refrigerators, etc., are demanded in summer. On the other hand, umbrella, raincoat, etc., are demanded in rainy season. Therefore, there is a risk in producing or selling such goods on a large scale. So, that is the disadvantage of purchase and sale. Now, disadvantages of industrial development, that is external economies. Evils of factory system. Number one is evils of factory system. Where many firms developed industries are located, many factors come into existence. As a result, many evils are born in such places. Dirty slums, polluted atmosphere, etc. affect the health of the workers adversely. Their efficiency decreases and production also suffers adversely. So that is evils of factory system. Number second is industrial unrest. Where an industry develops, industrial unrest often takes place. There are often industrial disputes between the workers and management for the problems like wages, bonus, leave, facilities of the place of work, etc. As a result, production may suffer. So, this were the advantages and disadvantages of internal economies and external economies. Again, I am repeating, internal economies is only related to a particular firm, whereas external economies is related to all over the industries, that is all whole firms, correct? So this were the advantages and disadvantages, and now we are ending up chapter number 4, that were the law of production. In the next session we are going to start another chapter. So thank you students, hope you are understanding and going through my sessions. Thank you.